Now, they're essential to the future of our environment and the fight against climate change. But a new report warns that the UK's native woodlands have reached crisis point with just a handful in good condition. The survey by the Woodland Trust has identified a range of threats from development to pollution and imported pests and disease. And it says that plans to plant millions of new trees won't much help if existing woods end up being lost. Our chief correspondent, Alex Thompson, reports.
Our native species woodlands, a vital measure of our environmental health. With their unique ability to store carbon, woods and trees are one of our key tools in fighting the climate crisis. But a report released today highlights a barrage of threats and sounds a serious warning for our native woodlands.
This report gives us a very clear, loud warning signs that the UK's woodlands and trees are in trouble and they need our help. Only 7% of the UK's native woodland is in good condition.
7%?
Yeah, it's really quite shocking.
But that's not all. We're in the midst of a climate and ecological emergency with more than 1 in 7 of our species threatened with extinction. 47% of our woodland birds have gone, 41% decrease in woodland butterflies, and an 18% drop in our woodland plants. It's been called catastrophic.
We've got woodlands like this one where there are plantations that have been planted in ancient woodlands, and it shades out the ground and it just makes it a less healthy place for wildlife.
And that's the key. The UK's Committee on Climate Change says we need another 2 billion trees by 2050. But not all trees are equal.
We've got any amount of this alien American Douglas fir planted so close together for commercial reasons that hardly any light penetrates to the forest floor. Look, it's more or less a biodesert and it's sucking moisture out of the ground. Whereas what we need is more, oh, so much more of this wonderful, neglected, untidy marsh and scrub.
A lot of our woodlands are probably too clean. They don't have enough dead wood in them. They're almost too tidy. And I think we've probably got to learn to be a little less disciplined about how we manage these sites.
The Woodland Trust, along with the Royal Society for the Protection of Birds, are trying to protect the native woodland and therefore the wildlife. And just one example is the marsh tit, which has seen a 70% decline since the 1970s.
Since 1970 to now, we've got a lot more forest in the UK, not less. And yet, bad news, catastrophic news for marsh tits.
Yeah, it is catastrophic news, but it's the type of habitat that we're creating and where it's being created. Planting trees in isolated locations where they're away from other habitat is probably not the best place.
It's this lack of connectivity, the fragmentation of habitats, which the Woodland Trust says is causing such a decline in wildlife. Over 100 ancient woods are under threat from the HS2 train link alone. 10 times that number are in danger across the country due to development.
I was going home from school and I was just like, came to Mum and she just told me that the oak tree, my favourite tree, had been cut down, and I honestly cried for about 2 hours or something. I felt so sad.
These developers in Whaley Bridge boast an oak tree as their logo. But with 85% of individual field trees lost over the last 150 years, here, as in so many places, nature is having to make way for housing.
These are sort of mature sycamores and ashes that have already been bulldozed, and the tree line has been removed. So that's 200 years of history and a lot of potential to give wildlife homes for many, many years to come that are now no longer there. It's incredibly sad.
Barratt Developments, whose work has been approved by the council, said sadly 15 trees had to be felled, but they're replacing them with 200 more, including large native species. And the felled trees will be converted to wildlife habitats as part of more than 2 hectares of new public space. The Woodland Trust wants restoring nature to be made a legal requirement, just like our net zero goals. And they want funding and grants to be given to landowners and communities to restore and protect our ancient woods. But in the meantime, some are taking matters into their own hands.
I don't know, we must put up a couple hundred bird boxes.
Derek Gow is farmer turned rewilder. On his land in Devon, he's turning plantations into woodlands that support biodiversity by introducing animals like beavers, bison and wild boar.
Should be a whole host of things that are living here as part of one overall integrated environment. Yes, trees, but many other things too.
Derek believes that his work can help save species on the brink and offer a glimpse of what the woodlands of the future might look like.
And by creating forests that are structured with dead trees standing, dead trees falling over, then a lot of the smaller creatures like willow tits that are now vanishing in their own right from the land, would return again to use the space, the spaces and the habitats that these provide. So forests of the future should be something that's full of life, full of song, full of colour and full of pleasure for those that walk through it.
The government says it plans to plant new, high-quality, well-managed woodlands and improve the condition of existing ones. But if drastic action isn't taken fast to protect one of the key assets in the fight against climate change, then the nature and species with which we share this fragile planet will be plunged into yet graver peril.